This connector here is the whoa! Hey guys and gals, I'm super excited about some new tools I've got my hands on to help maintain my 2008 BMW E90 323. In the last few weeks, I've started to get a battery warning from the ECM on my dashboard. It is the proper battery warning signal that doesn't have the key symbol inside. The one that does have the key symbol inside is for the battery in your key fob. I don't have that, but just to let you know. That's the icon for the battery warning, and that's the icon for the battery low in the key fob. I've owned this car about 4 years now. This is the battery that came with the car, so I don't really know how old it is. These batteries do tend to only last 4 to 6 years, depending on the climate and how badly they're abused. So I pretty much expect that the battery is at the end of its life. Winter's here now, and I just do not want to get stranded by the side of the road or in a parking lot because the battery's too cold. Not enough juice in it to get the car started, so I'm going to replace the battery. I bought a new battery from Costco. It's one of the Kirkland batteries. It's pretty highly rated, and it's a lot cheaper than an Energizer or the BMW branded battery, which is probably made by Energizer. So when replacing a battery in these cars, it's not like the old days where you could just grab a battery off the shelf, throw it in there, and off you go. Nope, these cars have battery management systems, or BMSs. And what they do is they change the charge rate of the battery as the battery ages. So it senses how much current the battery is drawing when it's being charged, how much current it's putting out when, accessories and stuff are drawing power from the battery. So when putting in a new battery in these cars, you can't just throw that in there and hope for the best, because you could literally damage your new battery, you could damage your battery management system, or you could do both, and you don't want to be doing that. So when you do put a new battery in, you have to tell the BMS that it's a new battery, essentially called resetting the battery. You can get this done at BMW, but of course they're going to charge you $200 for the privilege. On top of that, maybe another $300 or more for a BMW branded battery. But if you want to save yourself the BMW ownership tax plus a few bucks on the battery, you can do it yourself with tools like this. Hey, wait a minute, that's an iPhone. Don't worry, if you're in the Android ecosystem, the software is available for Android phones as well. It does the exact same thing. This is the Veepeak BLE ODB, onboard diagnostics, OBD scanner. It plugs directly into the OBD port on your car. Comes in a nice little case to protect it, connects right in. And on the phone, I've purchased and installed software called BimmerLink. The Veepeak is one of the recommended ones on the BimmerLink website, so I know it's going to work with it. There are a few others listed. In the description of the video, I will put links into the software. There's 2 of them. Another one is called Carly. I had a look at that, but did not buy it. The Carly app looks to be a bit more capable, but it's also 3 times the price at around 150 bucks. So you have to decide if that's worth it for you. All I really needed is software to reset the BMS on my car for the new battery I'm going to install. Everything else that comes after that is just icing on the cake. I'll discover what those features are once I've got the battery done. Okay, so on my 323, the OBD port is on the kick panel here, right behind that little access port there. You just have to grab it and pull it off, and that's where the OBD reader goes. So just take your Bluetooth scanner and plug it in. It is keyed. You can only plug it in one way, and it just pops right in there. And because the OBD port is always powered, it's going to remain on. So keep that in mind. You probably don't want to leave this thing plugged in all the time. It would probably take weeks to drain your battery. There's no point in leaving it in and drawing power if you're not using it. Just on an aside, this is another OBD tool that I've used on my car. It's good for reading codes and resetting codes, but it's a pretty generic reader and it works for other cars. I don't think it has the same depth of scanning that the BimmerLink software is going to provide, but we'll see. All right, so the first thing to do is plug the key in the ignition, press the start button, but do it without your foot on the brake, because you don't actually want the engine to start. You just want everything to be initialized.
Power on.
You see my dashboard coming alive. Let me turn off the fan here so it's quiet. So the first thing I need to do from reading the instructions is go into settings and choose the correct adapter. I think that one that it's got as the default is actually the one that BimmerLink has had custom made for their software. But if you go in there, you'll see a list of all the different kinds of Bluetooth scanners that it supports. And now the one I have is that, the Veepeak OBD Check BLE Plus. Go back, done, hit connect. It's asking me to use Bluetooth. I'm going to say okay. It's a similar setup on Android from what I understand. It's just that you will have to enter a pair code. Hey, look at that. So because I really only care about the battery for now, I'm going to go into the 12 volt battery and see what it has to say. So it's telling me a 90 amp hour battery. It's 46% charged. Okay, so this battery is definitely on its way out. I did drive the car for about an hour this morning. It should have been fully charged. And look, there's the magic button that I want down there. But I'm not going to do that right now because I have to replace the battery first. But I do want to remember that it says it's a 90 amp hour battery. I think the one that I bought is pretty close to that. I'm going to use that same battery setting. All right, time to get this battery changed. All right, on these cars, the battery is in the trunk. It is actually under this panel right here. This is the battery that I picked up, supposedly the right one. I went through their book and I checked it. Right next to the cat food. Turn this, opens that. Just pull it all the way forward. And there's the battery down there. To pull this battery out, you just need a 10mm socket or a 10mm wrench. You're gonna have to remove here and here. There is the negative connector here, and somewhere under there is going to be the positive one. I'll have to pull this out first. If your car hasn't been rated, underneath this little panel here, you have your little tool kit. That's the 10mm wrench that I'm going to use. So let's get started. A quick PSA. Modern cars are negative ground, meaning that the negative terminal of the battery is connected to the body and the chassis, all the metal work in the car. So that's the terminal you want to disconnect from the battery first, because when you're wrenching on it, if your wrench is on that terminal and it hits a piece of metal on the body, no big deal. If you're disconnecting the positive terminal first and the negative still connected, you could slip, hit some metal on the bodywork or strut or something like that, and you're going to cause a short to ground with that tool, and it's not going to be pleasant. So you definitely want to do the negative terminal first. Anyways, back to wrenching. One thing I do want to mention is once you disconnect the battery, you may lose radio programming, you might lose your stations, your trip odometer may reset to 0, so just be aware of that. Under here looks to be like that's where that little tab is. Where does it, how does that come out? Oh, there we go, I think that's it. Yes, and that is the connection to the battery here. Let's get the negative disconnected so I don't cause any problems. Now to undo the positive side of the battery. So to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to remove this connector here. There's just a clip you push in here and then it should come back out. I'm going to use a screwdriver for that. Let's push that in there and it should just pop right out. This connector here is the Intel. Whoa, that was interesting. Oh, a little bit of spark. I guess the yeah, so there's some current being drawn when that gets reconnected. It's not a big deal. It's just negative going to negative, but also it gives you an example of how things could go awry very quickly if you're not careful with what's connected where. This is the intelligent battery sensor connector here. I'm going to leave it connected if I don't have enough room. All I need to do now is release the clips. These are spring steel clips here. You can get the screwdriver down inside and just pry the sides and it should then just lift right off. But I'm going to tuck that out of the way so let's not do some real intermittent connecting to the battery, which I'm pretty sure the computer doesn't like. You know where I see these, get my handy dandy iPhone flashlight down in there. And it pops out. And lift up. There's one on the other side. Need both hands for this. And that should lift like that. And then that one. A little harder to get in there, but look at that. Lifts right up. Now, that should now just come right off, just like that. This is the airbag connector. It should always be connected to the battery. You can remove that clip. You want to be really careful if you do. There's a little side that you put your screwdriver in there. I'm going to try not to do it because it's easy to damage that. Oh yeah, one last thing I need to do first. Down the side here is the actual hold down screw. You can get a screwdriver. It's a Phillips head. You get it on top there, or you can use the 10mm. And that's just the hold down strap. Pulls the battery down to the chassis. Just a little bit. Get the screwdriver on there. Should come right out. Just like that. I'm going to remove this one as well so that I can tip the whole thing back. Okay, so it looks like there's a vent on the side of the battery here. This should just pull out the side. That's probably for outgassing. Takes it outside of the battery compartment, outside of the trunk. I have the same thing on my replacement battery, so I'll need to preserve that. So oh, just squeaks right on out. Literally. Okay, there's the battery vent hose right there. Now let's get the battery out. How bad it's gonna be. It's a wire. I'm gonna strap this back so it's held out of the way and I'm not pulling on anything I shouldn't be pulling on. Alright, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just cut this. Maybe not, maybe I can loosen it. Or disconnect the airbag. Really hate messing with stuff like that because you always end up with problems. And it looks like if I just put a screwdriver in there, it should release. I'm not going to tug on it too hard in case I'm wrong. Like it guessed right. So that little clip there, get the screwdriver in, it pops off and it releases out of that little connector there. So I want to be super careful with that because I do not want problems with the airbag system. Should be enough room for me to get it out now. They sure don't make it easy. Alright, so looking down in the hole, it doesn't look like there's really anything that has fallen off. Notice this connector here, the cap had come off. Maybe that was me tugging it, maybe it was from vibration. I'm just going to put that back on there. Now the battery I bought is a little bit shorter than the original, although it has a higher cold cranking amp rating. This is a 90 amp hour, 720 amp. The one I bought is a 730 amp with a max of 910 cold cranking amps. Not sure what the amp hour rating is. I would imagine it's pretty similar. I'm just gonna fake it when I reset the battery. But you can see it is a little bit shorter. But there's multiple holes in the bottom down here. So that was the original hole the battery tie down was screwed into. There's a few extras along here. I expect one of these is going to match, so the battery will be secure. Time to get it back in there. So new battery, pop off the old shielding. It's not going to go back on. I busted it, but that's okay. And that has to go back in that way. So now I got to maneuver all that back in there. On the upside, the battery is a little bit shorter, so maybe that'll be just fine. I saw you sneak in on yourself. Like I said, they don't make this easy, do they? Actually, it wasn't too bad. Kind of where it should be. Vent is in. You can definitely see the shorter battery. So it looks like that hole is going to align nicely. So I'm going to put in the battery tie down now. Alright, that's in. Reconnect the airbag. Should just pop right in and go click. If not, let's bring that up. Definitely do not want to mess this thing up because that would be bad. There we go. Let's off the battery. Goes back in here. There we go. And so the last thing to do now is reconnect the battery and see what happens. The battery strap back on. That ain't going nowhere. All right, let's go reset the battery. Bluetooth module's got power. That's a good sign. Let's reconnect to the BimmerLink. Key into ignition. Press the start button.
Power on.
Do not start it.
Connected.
Volt battery. Register new battery. Alright, it's telling me that battery is now registered. Sure enough, my time has gone to nothing. My trip odometer is back at 0. I don't listen to the radio, so I don't have any radio stations programmed, but let's see if the car starts. Well, that's a good sign, isn't it? All right, that is done. I'm gonna play around with the dashboard and then go for a quick test drive. This is cool. Got some fun stats showing on the little dashboard there. RPM, battery load, battery voltage, draw the position sensor angle, water pump speed just for fun, and how much power the engine's putting out in Newton meters. This is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this software so far. And that's the car telling me it's getting cold. Well, thanks for watching me struggle getting a new battery installed into my 2008 BMW E90 323. I'm sure it was quite electrifying and not shocking at all. So thanks for watching. If you like the video, why not hit the like button? If you're enjoying what I'm doing with the channel, why not subscribe? Like I said before in other videos, I got lots of fun stuff planned, and maybe you're going to enjoy watching me struggle with them. Regardless, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.